Welcome to Joe's RC Corner, and today we're back on the Super Chipmunk, so stay tuned. Okay guys, so like I said, we're going to get started on here on the Super Chipmunk. If you remember last week, we went ahead and we fiberglassed all these parts. So I fiberglassed the rudder and the vertical stabilizer. We also fiberglassed the elevator surfaces. The horizontal stabilizer we're waiting on right now because I want to kind of blend that in with the fiberglass into the plastic a little bit to make it nice and smooth and also prevent the whatever filler I put in there from cracking from vibration. So we're going to fiberglass that all later on. Let me get this glue out of the way here before I stick something to it. All right, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and take these elevators off. We don't want them in the way. We don't want to break them while we're working on the rest of the aircraft. So go ahead and pull these off here, set those aside. Make sure I don't lose these the hinges. We'll set those off to the side. We're going to go ahead and remove the ailerons because they're just going to be in the way flopping back and forth. We'll get those off. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is I want to start looking at how I'm going to mount this ESC here. And I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and put it right underneath the battery box here on an angle. It'll get some nice airflow in through the cowl and in through the hole. I might have to open up that a little bit more, but it should work perfectly there. And then we're going to go ahead and wire these up for a series connection, not a parallel, a series. We want 6-cell, not a 3-cell with more amperage. So we're going to go ahead and do that later on, but in the meantime, we're just going to make the mount there, which is going to be made out of plywood and just mounted right there on the side. So we'll go ahead and start that first. Okay, so we have the wing removed now. That'll give us a nice area, an easier way to manipulate the aircraft and move it around, so that way it's easier to work on. So I want to try to set this up to where you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to slide those out of the way. Set this off on the side like this. So now you can. Okay, so as you can see right here, get back in the center here. There we go. Now we're in the center. You can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the ESC we're going to be using. Like I said, I'm going to make a plate that's going to hold this here with a couple of zip ties right there. We'll have nice airflow underneath, and the ESC wires come right out where the wing is right here. Okay, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Okay, so as you see, so I've gone ahead and I've made this piece of plywood here. I've got it angled, and I also shaved this onto a 45. So that way this fits perfectly in there, and I can shove a zip tie underneath and go ahead and zip tie this directly to there, and that'll hold that right in place perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my super glue here, got that all cleaned off. I'm going to make sure that this is open enough so that when I put the zip tie through, I can have that go through there a lot easier. Actually, I might end up, yeah, I think I will. There we go. This will work. Much nicer. Velcro, guys. Velcro is your friend. So we will use a piece of Velcro to mount this ESC because I'm not going to be able to get another zip tie in there if I have to replace that ESC. I need to make sure it's wide enough for the pieces of Velcro to go through there without hindering this being mounted. There we go, perfect. And if then this is mounted in here, like so. So we need it roughly about right there. That way I can get back in there and replace the ESC if said have to. So, make sure I got enough to go around it. I can always trim it. Get my piece of wood here. Put some medium CA on here. Right there. Right there. Right here. And right here. Put the Velcro behind it. Get that on there like so. Hold that there. We'll add a little bit of extra to make sure everything holds in there perfectly straight. Okay, that's getting in there good. Okay, add a little more CA along the front end here. A little more on this side. A little more on this side. We don't want that breaking out, so. Okay. A little bit of that hot stuff on there. Now we have ESC mount. This is going to go right in here. Like that. We'll have to cut that piece a little shy. And then I can wrap that one over. So let me get my scissors here. Trim this one just a smidgen. Like that. Just want to go right here. Pull it tight so the ESC don't move. Trim that baby off right there. There we go. ESC is mounted. Just like that. And with the fuselage sides on there, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but with some forceps, I should be able to get this replaced. Pull that back in there, and then Velcro that down, so that way it doesn't go anywhere. So if anything ever does happen to the ESC, it is still going to be replaceable. All said and done, it's not going to be easy to replace, but it will be replaceable, which is the key. Okay, so that part is done. The ESC is now mounted. That's beautiful. I'm liking how that's laid out in there. But see, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and silver solder the rudder control onto this. That way, that is done, and I don't have to worry about accidentally melting the plastic fuselage sides while I'm trying to get that lined up. So that'll be the next step, and I got to get this lined up really good. So I want it as close as possible to the to where the tail wheel is, because I can make the adjustments from that. That actually is really good right there. So so we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll fill this with solder. We're going to notch this. Go ahead and do that now. There we go. Now it has something a little bit more to grab to than just a smooth round surface. Okay, so we'll be right back. Okay, so we got that silver soldered on. Was not an easy task. Part of the reason why I did it off camera. But we got it on there. It's looking good. It is straight with the mostly straight with the with the tail wheel. But you know, get it as close as you can. You know, but nonetheless, that's all done. So now we're ready to move on to actually put in the fuselage sides on the aircraft. So let's go ahead and start moving on with that. So, all right, now we'll get this laid out on here really nicely here and make it easy. So to get started, the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to put the wing back on the aircraft, because I want to make sure that the wing saddles meet up with the wing perfectly. So there's going to be a lot of test fit and removal, but we'll get this on there. It'll look great, and so stay tuned. We'll keep going here, okay? Okay, so to get started, I wanted to make sure none of my wires were going to get in the way of putting these fuselage sides on the aircraft. So I went ahead and I taped up my servo leads here, and also used a zip tie that's easily accessible once the sides are on, to keep the wires for the ESC up and out of the way. So work smarter, not harder, right? So that would be the first steps. Next, now we're going to go ahead and flip it over, and we're going to start putting the wing back on here, and then we're going to start fitting all of this, the plastic sides here, and make sure everything is fitting right. We're going to need to do some sanding. I got my sander plugged in, ready to go, so we're ready to start doing that to make sure things are nice and flush and flat. So stay tuned. We're going to keep going on this. Okay, guys? Okay, so here we are. We got the wing mounted. We're ready to move on to the next step, which is going to be putting the fuselage sides on the aircraft. We're going to do one side at a time, because we want to make sure that the first one lines up beautifully first, and then what we'll do is we'll take the other one and we're going to line it up next to it and make sure that they line up great, and then sand it and then trim it to make it fit just right. All right, so we'll flip the aircraft over here. Running out of space, of course. We're going to put that on a 45 here so we have room to work with. Okay, there we go. We're going to take this side first. We're going to take the right side. We're going to go with the right. No specific reason why. Just going with the right side. Okay. We'll start piecing that on there nicely. Trying to line it up in there as good as we can. Do the final fit in here. We're going to take a look. Take a look here and see how this meets up. So if we put that one, line it up right there with the center. Get some pins here because we need to mark the center. We're going to basically push the everything right up to it. So about right here is the center. Doesn't have to be perfect, perfectly in the center. We're just going to get as close as we can here. Got another one a little bit further back. There we go. I believe this is the side that met up with the wing nicely. No. It's like the bottom needs to be trimmed. We'll go ahead and flip this over here and we'll take a look. So it looks like the bottom is giving me a nice big gap up here. So this is going to need to be trimmed a little bit. Maybe about 1/16 of an inch, basically one scissor cut through. Grab my scissors over here. Okay, so I went ahead and I did a little bit more sanding here along this bottom ledge, trying to get this to close up a little bit more when it's centered on the profile fuselage. So I'm going to go ahead and do another trial fit here with you guys. Get this lined up, get it centered, get that on. I need one more pin back there in the back. Let me get one here so we can make sure we're lining up in the center back here as well. There's the spot. Boom. There's the next one is right here. Okay, front. Again, get those lined up. That looks good like so. Let's see here. This is awkward. It's awkward, guys. We're gonna get this. Oh man, that looks much better. Get that lined up on there again. We are getting closer. So if you take a look, that'll get pulled in there, lined up. Yeah, grab this pin out. That's lined up there. Fits nice and snug there. Pull that up, and that's lined up in the bottom and the top. So as you can see, that gap right here is getting a lot closer. So I'm thinking a little bit more, and we're getting a lot close. We're getting really close here, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more, maybe on the top this time as well, and a little bit more on the bottom. Probably actually just a little bit on the bottom. Top actually looks pretty good right there. That's lined up really nice right there. Top is looking really good up here in the front. I think we're done in the front though. But that gap is definitely getting closer. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with the sanding. Okay, so I think we are there. I've got it down to about a 1/16 of an inch. I don't think I can get it much closer than that on this wing saddle. So I'm happy with that fit. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and just use a little bit of CA and a couple of strategic spots here, and we're going to just tack the plastic side on. So then I can take the other half and line it up to it and kind of put a line where it needs to be. So that way I know where I need to sand that one down to. And then we're getting there. We're almost there, guys. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and tack these down and then get the next side started mounted on there, okay? Okay, so we have the fuselage half now tacked in place, and I'm going to take a quick picture of this, of the gap here. And you'll probably think it's a pretty deep gap, but I think what we'll end up doing is we're going to get some of that foam tape. And I'm going to put some foam tape along that. That's going to seal that edge. We're not really running any fuel, so it's not really that critical for keeping fuel out, but you'll see here, that's really as close as I can get it. I worked as hard as I could to get that trimmed back, but unfortunately, that's going to be the best that I can do. So the next step, now that that's tacked in place, we can take this other half and make sure this side fits flush against the other one. So we're going to go ahead and do that next. So let's go ahead and just place it on there here and see how this looks already as it is. See how close we are. And I believe this was the better side. Yeah, this side looks really good already. So I'll go ahead and take a quick picture of this side here. And this isn't even tacked. It's actually got weight on it and everything. So you'll see here, this side is looking really good already as it is. There we go. So I think we're ready to go ahead and untack this and put that double-sided tape down and get these on there. So stay tuned. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using this 3M tape here. It's really strong stuff. It's going to hold it really good. It mounts to the wood very well. Thanks for joining me, guys. I really appreciate the support. That's all we have time for today. We got the fuselage sides done. They look great on here. Next steps will be setting up the vertical and the rudder stabilizers, hinging the ailerons, and getting that hatch done. And then we're almost ready to start doing the priming and painting. So I really appreciate your support, guys. So on the next video, we're gonna be going back out to Sun City RC Raceway and doing some more RC car racing. So keep an eye out for that. And if you're interested, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget, hit the bell. The bell will allow you to get notifications of when the next videos do pop up on YouTube. So thank you again for the support, guys. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. So one last thing, guys, before you go, visit my Teespring store. Go ahead and buy a t-shirt. We have a couple different designs on there. It really would help support this channel and allow me to grow even more and get you even better content along the way. So if you could please go ahead and visit that Teespring store. Link will be in the description. And again, hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell so you get the notifications on the next video.